Good morning. Hope you're having a great week. It is Monday, April 1st, 5:26 a.m. Central Daylight Time, local time here in Oklahoma City. I'm in my personal vehicle, driving across town, headed to where I parked the truck because of drama. I need to go check and see if trailer utilization took my trailer or not. What happened was trailer utilization sent me a threatening email saying that they were sending somebody over to take the trailer because I've been sitting for 21 days. And if I didn't detach from the trailer and remove all of the locks, then there were a whole bunch of threats about things I would be charged for. So I drove down to where I parked the truck. I disconnected from it, and I only have a single parking space. So what I did was I parked my truck behind the trailer in my parking space so that somebody could take the trailer. Then I drove down to Fort Worth, Texas from where I live, Oklahoma City. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm in Oklahoma City. That's where I live. I drove to Fort Worth to the nearest Landstar terminal to take a hazmat class. And then, just a second here, I'm about to do a lane change. And then, damn, the person in front of me just went way off onto the shoulder. When I got back from the hazmat, well, while I was at the hazmat class, well, okay, let me back up a little bit. I think this was on a Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday morning whenever they sent me the threatening email from trailer utilization. Wednesday afternoon, I drove to Fort Worth. During the drive there, trailer utilization called me like 5 times, but I didn't answer the phone because I was driving. And then the next day while I was in the hazmat class, Thursday, trailer utilization called me several more times. And I did not answer the phone because I was in a hazmat class. And I really didn't want to talk with trailer utilization. I can't stand them. It is one of the worst departments to interact with at Landstar. The people that work there are bad at their jobs, and they are extremely arrogant. And they're very defensive. They get confrontational real quick. Anyway, I've talked about them in the past. I'm not going to rant and rave about them again. But anyway, when I got back to Oklahoma City Thursday night, the trailer was still there. So I'm looking for a load, and I need to know what I need to do. Do I have a trailer to go pick up a load? Or do I need to contact trailer utilization and get a trailer? I don't know if they took the trailer or not. So I have to drive 25 miles across town to check and see if the trailer is still there, and then turn around and drive 25 miles back to the house. And that will help me decide what I'm going to do today, whether I'm going to contact trailer utilization or I'm going to start looking for a load. So that's what we're doing right now, and unfortunately it started raining almost the entire drive. The drive down to Fort Worth was good, but the drive from Fort Worth back to Oklahoma City was just heavy rain almost the whole drive. I need to get over in that right lane in the next mile. Got an exit coming up. This drive sucks because it's like 25 miles, but it only takes me maybe 30 minutes because a lot of it is interstate. It only takes me about 30 minutes if there's no traffic. In bad traffic, it can take an hour or more. So I was planning on doing this a couple of hours ago, so I wouldn't have to deal with any morning traffic. But I got in the middle of doing stuff and I lost track of time. And the next thing I know, it was, whoa, there's a whole bunch of crap in the road. Next thing I know, it's 5 a.m. and I'm like, oh damn, I need to turn and burn. If I don't get down there and get headed back real quick, I'm gonna be driving in rush hour. Yeah, I was planning on actually getting back out over the road last week, but things just kept coming up and kept coming up. I just kept getting busy doing things, and it kept on delaying me. So I'm trying to get back out over the road. One good thing about making hardly any money last year was that I didn't have to pay in anything in taxes. And a little tip, a little piece of advice for anybody who files their own taxes, or even if you pay someone else to file your taxes for you, I think you need to have some kind of basic understanding of taxes. If you're a business owner, even if you're not a business owner, you're just like a normal everyday person, I think that you need to have some kind of basic understanding of the tax system to have a rough idea of how much you owe in taxes. Because if you don't, then you have no idea if the person or the program or whatever it is that you're using to do your taxes, you have no idea if what they're doing is accurate. The reason that I do my own bookkeeping and accounting and taxes and everything for my business is because I tried 2 different tax services whenever I opened up my business. I tried ATBS and I tried a local here in Oklahoma City that specializes in trucking. She was recommended to me by someone at the CDL school. One of the instructors at the CDL school that used to be an owner-operator recommended her. So I had issues with ATVS and that local accountant. I had the same problem with both of them. Number one problem I had was that they charged an insane amount of money for their services. It was like $100 a month for bookkeeping. Good Lord, man. A whole bunch of shit just fell off the bottom of that van and bounced all over my car. I hope that rock didn't chip my damn window. So, yeah, like $100 a month for bookkeeping, and then both of them charged about the same amount of money to file the taxes, like $700 to file the taxes. So the total bill came up to somewhere around $2,000 to do bookkeeping and file my taxes. That is insane. That is crazy money. If you know how easy it is to do bookkeeping and taxes, then you would just be like, it's crazy to pay that kind of money for those services because they're so easy. So the second issue I had with them is inaccuracy. Neither one of them did my taxes properly. I had huge issues with both of them that cost me thousands of dollars. I did not realize, I didn't verify, I didn't double check until after I already paid my taxes. You know, whenever they told me the numbers, I was like, that doesn't make sense. I have a basic understanding of taxes, and I should not owe that much money. Like my very first year, I paid in like $9,000 in taxes. My second year, I paid in like $8,000 in taxes. And I overpaid by several $1,000s because they didn't do things correctly. Just a second. This is a really, really nasty interchange. To give you an example of some of the things they screwed up on, the local accountant, they didn't put any of my write-offs into my taxes for an entire quarter. There was an entire quarter of receipts that I provided to them that they did not put into the bookkeeping. Several thousand, like, if I remember correctly, it was like $15,000 in tax write-offs that they did not put into my bookkeeping. I had to, in order to find out about that, I had to go in and do my entire year of bookkeeping myself to find out where they screwed up on it. So after I paid them $2,000 to do it, and I paid the federal government like $8,000 in taxes, then I had to spend about a week, 1 to 2 weeks, going through all of my stuff, doing my own bookkeeping for the previous year, and doing all my own calculations for taxes and everything to figure out what I actually owed. I did not refile my taxes. I should have, but I didn't. The federal government just got an extra like $4,000 out of me, $4,000 or $5,000. And I started doing my own bookkeeping and filing my own taxes after that. So a little piece of advice, aside from having some kind of basic understanding of taxes so that you know whether or not the people doing it for you are doing it right. The other little piece of advice that I have, if you do your own bookkeeping or somebody else does it for you, something that you need to be aware of is that whenever you file taxes as a sole proprietor, an owner-operator, you have two completely different sections for write-offs. You're filing two different sets of taxes, basically. So, I might pause this video whenever I get up here and restart it whenever I leave. We'll see. Because I'm going to be here for a few minutes. If the trailer is here, just a second here, then I'm actually going to reconnect to the trailer so that nobody can take it. Oh, sweet, the gate's open. I'm surprised that it's open. Somebody must have just came in or must have just left, or they forgot to close the gate last night, because they used to open up at 6 a.m., but they changed their hours to where now they don't open up until like 8 a.m., and they close. I don't even know what time they close now. I hope the trailer's there, because then I can just look for a load. I do not want to deal with trailer utilization. So if the trailer is there, and I can, if I can, which I don't even know if I can, I might be blocked in. Yeah, the trailer's there. Holy shit. So it looks like I can. If I can get my truck out from behind the trailer, then I'm gonna, fuck yeah, this is awesome. They never took my trailer. I guess because they couldn't reach me, they just gave up on trying to steal it. Now I'm never gonna answer a phone call. So anyway, I'm gonna park right here, and I will pause the video, and I'll restart the video after I get the truck shifted around. I'll be right back. Alrighty. That took a long time. No, it's 5:55 a.m. right now. I would guess that took 5 to 10 minutes. So that is good news. I have a trailer, which means I can book a load right now. I was really dreading working with trailer utilization. All right, so back to what I was saying about taxes. I use TurboTax, and I don't have to pay extra for filing my taxes. I used to have to pay for their like second level package back whenever I had certain kinds of stocks, and I had to file what are referred to as special Ks for royalty trusts and stuff like that. But now that I don't have any more of those investments, I can just do the basic plan with TurboTax, which I can't remember what it is. I think my entire total bill to file state and local taxes was like $178. But here's the deal. You have two different sections for write-offs. And whenever you're filing taxes as a sole proprietor, you're basically filing two sets of taxes. What happens is you file taxes against your business, and then whatever revenue is left over from your business after all of your write-offs, that is what gets reported against you on your personal taxes. Oh man. This car is so damn low to the ground. I have to be really careful doing just about anything with it. I'm constantly rubbing the bottom of the front bumper, turning in and out of places. Ooh, this is nasty. Ugh. But if you put write-offs into your personal section, then they won't count as your business. And that is huge, massive. That's one of the things that those tax filing services screwed up on for me, is they were filing my write-offs in the wrong section. So you can do write-offs. Anybody can do write-offs. What the thing is that everyone gets just a second here, let me get on everyone gets what's called the standard deduction. Right now, the standard deduction is like $13,000. So if you're an employee filing your taxes, if you do not have more than $13,000 in write-offs, then you just take the standard deduction. The standard deduction does not add on top of whatever write-offs you put in. You can either choose to do write-offs, or you can choose to do the standard deduction. It's either or. Just a second here. Going through construction, I've got an exit coming up, and we caught up to a really slow moving vehicle, and traffic just collapsed on top of me when I did. I think the speed limit's 55, but we're doing 40. Speed limit's 55, I think, for the construction. People normally just keep going 65, 70 through here. So, yeah, so you have to be sure to put all of your write-offs under your business. And the way you do it with TurboTax is you file it against your business vehicle. So in TurboTax, you put in your vehicle information for your business, and then you have a whole bunch of little sections on your vehicle where you can put in expenses for that vehicle, like tires and gas and stuff like that. All of your business expenses need to be in that section. If you pop out of that section and then you add in a line for, you know, to write off your phone bill for your business phone, that will go in against your personal write-offs. It won't be calculated against your business write-offs. And once TurboTax finishes calculating up all of your personal write-offs, if it's not over $13,000, then it's going to tell you to take the standard deduction, and it's going to completely ignore all of those write-offs that you did. So if you had like $10,000 in write-offs that you put in the wrong section, you file it against yourself as personal stuff, not business stuff, then all of those write-offs will be lost. And, you know, the average that, you know, we all end up paying in federal and state taxes is somewhere in the ballpark of like 30 or 40%. So if you lost $10,000 in write-offs, then that could cost you $3,000 or $4,000 extra dollars that you're paying in taxes. Traffic is picking up quite a bit. But I'm still going to be able to beat rush hour. Traffic usually does not start becoming a parking lot until shortly after 7 a.m. in Oklahoma City. At least last time I was a commuter. I haven't had to commute for work in several years. out over the road, I don't really have any particular destination in mind. I will most likely grab a load headed up to the northwest, like Seattle, Portland area. I don't like going to Seattle, so it would be really nice to find a big paying load going to Portland. I am avoiding California still. There are several reasons that I'm avoiding California. Just in general, I don't like going to California, even though I go to California all the time. Every time I go to California, I'm like, why in the hell did I take another load to California? But the main reason I'm not going to California is the rates. The rates coming out of California still suck. Yes, you can find decent paying loads going up and down I-5, and you can find decent paying loads going out into the middle of the freight desert, places like Denver or, Montana, Wyoming, stuff like that. But to get back over to the central part of the country or further east, those loads are cheap. So if you take a load into California, it's going to be hard for you to get back to the eastern half of the country and still make money. So, other reasons I'm avoiding California is it's just the most anti-trucker state that exists. And I think that they implemented some new CARB laws now where to drive in California, your truck has to have a smog certification or something like that. I don't know. I'll have to look into it if I ever take a load back to California. If I ever go to California, I'll have to double check and see if I have to have some kind of smog certification for California. Like, how in the hell are you supposed to make that happen? Like, if you don't live in California, how are you supposed to get one of these smog certifications that's like California specific before you get into California? Because as soon as you cross the state line, if you don't have that certification, you're technically illegal. So other states that don't have that law would have to have a certification in place that you could get. That is, I hate California. I really, really, really hate California. And it's such a shame that, because it's such a beautiful place, it's just being ruined. But anyway, yeah, loads going into Florida are not paying very well. So I avoid the Northeast, and I only go to the Southeast if I can find some amazing loads. And the loads going into the Southeast right now are not paying very well. Loads coming out, there was a pedestrian on the right side shoulder there that was kicking stuff toward the roadway. Anyway, I completely forgot I forgot who I was. I forgot my name. When I get like focused on something, I completely forget everything I was doing. So yeah, most likely I'll end up taking a load up into the Northwest to like the Portland area. That is most likely what I'll end up doing. But we'll just have to see what the load board offers. Things are, you can sit there and watch the load board all day, every day, and know everything that's normal on the load board, but there could be something abnormal that's posted. There might be like some $12 a mile load posted going to Los Angeles, and I'm like, man, I'm taking it. I don't want to go to Los Angeles, but if they're going to throw that much money at me, I'm doing it. So I have a rough idea of what I'm going to do, but I'm at the mercy of the load board. And that was something that we talked about in that cabs class that I just took at Landstar. That was the main thing we talked about all day, was dedicated loads. Like, people are going out of business like crazy. They said that people who are running off the load board are going out of business like crazy. But people who have like a dedicated broker that they work with, or they have a dedicated a run or an account or whatever, those are the people that are surviving and thriving in this market. They said all the people that are just running random crap off the load board, most of them are on the verge of going out of business. And, you know, I agree with that statement. Yeah, I completely agree with that. But my class was only, I don't think I've made a video since I did the class. I think I uploaded a video before the class, but I don't think I've made one since the class. My class was only 4 people. There was me, I've been with Landstar for almost exactly 3 years. It was the summer of 21 that I leased onto Landstar. There was one guy that this was his 90-day orientation. Landstar requires a follow-up orientation, so whenever you initially go through orientation with Landstar, they make you go through a follow-up orientation 90 days later. And it's called a cabs class, and that's the same class they make you take whenever you recertify hazmat. The hazmat recertification is part of the cabs class. And I've also been told that if you ever screw up, that part of the remediation process is taking a cabs class again. So anyway, the other 2 people that were in the class were million milers. One guy had been with Landstar for around 15 years. Just a second, this SUV wants to cut me off. I'm not going to try to block them. I'm going to back up and give them room so they don't do something stupid. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe they didn't notice I backed up. All right, I've got enough room now that I can get away from them. They looked like they were going to pass me the way that they flew up on that car. But anyway, that right lane's going exit only here in a second. So let's wait until I get past this, because a lot of people don't watch the signs and they don't realize till the last second that it's an exit only, and they'll just jerk over, and accidents happen right here at this intersection, this interchange, all the time. This is one of the most common places in Oklahoma City for accidents to happen. It's the I-44 State Road 74 split. Oklahoma City has some horribly designed infrastructure. What in the heck? hell was I talking about? Sorry, I'm watching that truck in front of me that's flying up on people and slamming on their brakes and tailgating and acting a fool. I forgot what I was talking about. Probably wasn't that important. Oh, buddy. Almost another accident right there. That person drove across the median, took the exit at the last second, almost hit that truck. It's just amazing that there's not an accident every 10 feet on the road with how bad drivers are. Oh, I was talking about the people in the class. Well, yeah, there was one guy had been with Landstar for 15 years, and the other one 20 years, and they were both part of, whoa, shit. The truck in the left-hand turn lane almost hit me. They came into my lane. So the Million Miler Driving Club or whatever at Landstar is not easy to get into. It's not just simply 1,000,000 miles, and it's not just simply 1,000,000 safe miles. There is a huge list. Just a second. The truck that almost hit me is jumped 2 lanes and is passing me on the right, and I don't really want to be anywhere near that idiot, so I'm slowing down to let him get away from me. Look like some old guy. Hell, I'm an old guy. I'm calling people old and I'm old. It's amazing. We all used to be young at some point. But, yeah, there's a huge list. Like, one of the requirements excludes me. I will never be a 1,000,000 miler at Landstar because one of the requirements for to be a 1,000,000 miler is that your miles have to be done in a year in which your gross revenue for the business was at least within, I think, 25% of the fleet average. And the cabs class instructor said that the fleet average was about $250,000 gross. So you had to make, I don't know, whatever 25% of that is. That's so that'd be 50,000 plus 12,500. That'd be 60. I don't know. It's around $185,000. Just a second. I'm looking to get over to the right lane. I think Whataburger has lunch 24 hours a day. I think Whataburger is open 24 hours a day. So I'm going to swing into Whataburger and grab some food on the way home. But, yeah, because of that, I will probably never be a 1,000,000 miler at Landstar because I don't gross anywhere remotely close to $185,000 a year. None of the miles that I put on the truck, I put hardly any miles on my truck. Like last year, I only did 13,000 miles for the whole year. I sat at home almost the whole year last year. But those miles didn't even count because I didn't make anywhere close to 185,000 gross. So yeah, both of those guys were in the 1,000,000 miler club, which is really hard to get into. I think one of them said he was about to hit 2 million miles. He was about to be in the 2,000,000 miler club. We have a right turn green light. Just a heads up, if you are in a right turn lane and that right turn lane has its own light, it is not legal to make a right on a red. You have to follow the light if the turn lane has its own light. This guy's out here praying. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, this is awesome.
Welcome to Waterburg, man.
Good morning. Can I get burgers at this hour?
Yeah.
Awesome. Can I get a number 4, what a sized, whatever the biggest size is, with a Coke?
Would that be all?
That's it.
1106 at the window.
Thanks, sir. Ooh, he's got a long ladder sticking out of that thing. But anyway, just a second. I don't want him to think I'm crazy talking to myself. Thank you. So, what ended up happening, though, in the class was that the guy who'd only been with Landstar for 90 days, he had picked up a load in Salt Lake that was headed to Florida, and the broker told him that the delivery was not a scheduled appointment and he could just deliver it whenever he wanted. So that's the reason he took the load, was because he had to take that class. So he was looking for a load specifically to get him to a Landstar terminal to take one of these classes. And he got there. I don't know how long he'd been on the load. He could have been sitting on the load for a month for all I know. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know the details. But what ended up happening was, just an hour or two into the class, early in the morning at like 9 a.m., the broker started messaging him and calling him, asking what was going on, and telling him that the customer wants the load. He was asking him when he's going to be there and when he's going to deliver the load. And he said that the customer wanted the load delivered, I think, Saturday morning or something like that. And this was Thursday morning. And the customer wanted it delivered Saturday morning. He was like, that's impossible. I can't make it there Saturday morning. And he told him that he was in a class and all that stuff. And the broker just kept harassing him. And then the broker threatened to repower the load, have somebody take the load from him. And whenever an agent at Landstar has a load in the trailer, that agent has control over that trailer. There's nothing you can do about it. That agent can have another driver take that trailer from you if they want to. If it's a Landstar trailer, that is. There's nothing that you can do. Whenever there's a load in the trailer, the agent has complete control over that trailer. So, I don't know what ended up happening, but he talked with the instructor and told the instructor what was going on, and that the broker was threatening to steal the load from him and repower it and all that stuff. And the instructor let him leave the class early. He ended up leaving the class before lunch at around, I don't know, it was like 11 a.m. The agent harassed him for a couple of hours. And then at like 11 a.m. he left to go take that load to Florida. And then the 20-year guy said that he had a load that he needed to pick up this afternoon and asked if he could leave the class early. And the instructor was like, sure, I just need you to do the hazmat test so you can, as soon as you finish that, you can leave. So he skipped lunch and stayed in the class during lunch and did the hazmat test. And then after lunch, he left. And then the other 15-year guy saw what he was doing, so he stayed in during lunch, did all of the hazmat stuff, and asked if he could go, and he said yes, so he left. So at about 1:30, it was about 2 p.m., everybody was gone. I was the only person left in class. Was it 2? Yeah, it was around 2 p.m. I was the only person left in class. And I was like, oh, sweet, I'm going to get to leave early. And I was afraid that I wasn't going to get to leave until 5 p.m. and I was going to have to deal with morning rush hour in Dallas. Or, no, it'd be afternoon rush hour, I'm sorry. So I was sitting there. I went ahead and I did my hazmat test as well, because the instructor told me to go ahead and do it while everybody else was doing it. So after I got back from lunch, the instructor told me to go ahead and do the hazmat test. And we also had to go sign new contracts. Landstar makes you come back and do this CABS class every 3 years. And whenever you do the CABS class every 3 years, you sign a new contract. They said that the contracts are only good for 3 years. And they make you sign new contracts every 3 years. That way, if you're a bad driver, they can just refuse to renew your contract. That's the reason they told me that the contracts are only good for 3 years. I don't know how true that is. The instructor made up a whole bunch of stuff. I know he was just making up stuff off the top of his head on a lot of things. I caught him saying a lot of things that weren't true. So I don't really trust a lot of things he said. But anyway, I finished my hazmat thing. I signed my new contract. And I got back into the classroom fully expecting him to tell me, you can take off if you want, or we can sit here and do class. But he didn't. He just came back into the class, popped up a PowerPoint presentation, and started teaching with just me in the class. And at 3:30, I asked him, because there was a sign on the board that said what the class schedule was, and it said that the class ended, one type of class ended at 3:30, and the other type of class ended at 5. And I asked him, I said, does this class end at 3:30 or 5? And he said, well, I'm here till 5, so if you want to stay till 5, I'll hang out with you till 5. And I said, no, I was hoping to beat rush hour traffic. I was hoping to get out of here before rush hour. I was just wondering what time the class ended. And he was like, well, yeah, if you get out of here before 4, you'll be able to beat rush hour. So yeah, you can take off whenever you want. You've already done everything you need to do in the class, but if you have any questions or want me to go over anything, I'm happy to go over anything with you. He said, this is the first time I've ever only had one person in the class. So we ended up sitting there and talking about stuff for another half hour. Him teaching me how to do bookkeeping and stuff. Thanks, sir. Have a good one. And wait a second here. I gotta get out of here without rubbing my bumper, without ripping the bumper off, and without spilling my fries all over the place. So yeah, I didn't end up leaving the class until about 4. I didn't end up leaving the parking lot until 4:15, so I had to deal with quite a bit of rush hour traffic, and it was raining, so it was a long drive home Thursday night. Not this past Thursday, but the Thursday before that was when I went to the class. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the left-hand lane. I'm making a left-hand turn in the not too distant future. So anyway, sorry, I think this is my turn, this light right here. I know there's an apartment complex on the left side at the light. It's Britain Road that I'm turning left on. I don't go this route very often, but I'm pretty sure this is it. There's the apartment complex. So anyway, yeah, it was a nasty drive home. And That was it. I got home, and the reason I sat for another week was when I got home, I don't know why, but I looked online about renewing my TWIC. For anybody who doesn't know the story about my TWIC card, and you don't know what a TWIC is, it's a transportation worker identification card. I can't remember the exact acronym, but I think it's transportation worker identification card. It's basically a clearance that allows you to go into ports and go onto military bases without an escort. If you don't have a TWIC and you go onto a military base, you are supposed to have an escort with you. Also, if you go to a port and you don't have a TWIC, you're supposed to have an escort with you. I don't go to ports or military bases very often because they suck, but it is nice to have whenever I do. So anyway, my TWIC expires at the end of this year, and I was going to renew my TWIC whenever I did my background check for my hazmat to recertify, to get my license renewed, but I didn't realize you had to make a separate appointment. My appointment was only good for the background check for my hazmat. They told me that I had to have a second appointment to do the TWIC. And I was like, are you serious? And I would have had to sit around for another week to go down there and do that appointment. But I found out that because I already did the background check this year, that I could just do my TWIC renewal online. So I was like, oh, let's go ahead and do that. And I did it. And then I was like, well, now I've got to sit around and wait for my TWIC card to arrive in the mail. And I just got my TWIC. My updated new TWIC is, I just got that delivered on Saturday. I'm actually still waiting on a second mail. They send it in 2 different mails for security. Just a second here. I can't judge the distance on this car because they only got one headlight. It's really hard to judge how fast somebody's moving whenever you only have one reference point. I'm gonna go ahead and let this person turn. And they still cut the turn. That is one of my things that annoys me really bad, is that people don't make left turns properly. They cut the turn short and they tighten it, and they almost clip people that are, in the other lane because they don't make proper left turns. I've almost had head-on collisions so many times because of people shortening left turns. Oh, this is trash day. I don't put my trash cans out very often because I don't produce much trash. And usually, I only put one trash can out because I don't produce much trash. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up the video. I hope you're having a good one. I hope you're out there making lots of money, doing all the good things. Second here, I got to try not to rip the bumper off. Have a really steep driveway. So, anyway, have a good one. Bye.